and good afternoon, and welcome to our Lunch and Learn. And today we're going to be talking about 5G, COVID-19, and strengthening your immune system. So I'm going to have to lay a little bit of foundation for you because you may not even know what electrofrequencies are. And so there is a new lawsuit. In fact, there's two lawsuits that have come out against the FDA and not FDA, FCC, sorry, come out against the FCC this year, this past July. Okay, the two people that are filing these lawsuits, one is the Children's Health Defense, and the second one is the Environmental Health Defense Trust. Okay, so they filed jointly in July, and the case alleges that the FCC has to reconsider its wireless health and safety guidelines that have been in place since 1996. Now, I know some of the people that come to see me were not even born in 1996, and so 1996 just seems like a lifetime away, but that was the last time that the FCC did any kind of guidelines. Since that time, we have had more and more electronics, more and more radiation, more and stronger electromagnetic frequencies that have come into our field. So the case alleges that the FCC ignores clear evidence of harm to people and the environment from their ubiquitous technology. Okay, ubiquitous means it's everywhere, okay? So if you're looking around, you're seeing 5G towers everywhere, you're seeing 4G towers everywhere. You may have come home like I did a few years ago and your local electricity company put a notice on your door and says, congratulations, we changed out your meter and you now have a smart meter. Now, smart meter is good for the electric company because what it does is it grabs energy that's already in the air from the neighbors. So it's not generating more energy, it's just pushing the energy to where the most usage is. So it really does conserve energy. But for human beings, it puts a lot of stress on our immune system, and so it's not good for us. I was not notified that this was going to happen. I did not like that this happened, but I like electricity, and so this is what I have. So more and more we are being bombarded with infrared radiation. We are being bombarded with electrosmog. All of this changes our frequencies. Now, if you've ever been to see me, you know that we do frequency testing, and I will just tell you that we live in downtown Humble, Texas. There are 5G or some kind of something outside that has, it generates frequencies, and even though I wear personal protection, I have in my home, on my fuse box, personal protection to kind of cut through all the Wi-Fi and the electro smog. On my DNA thing, this is your 90-day optimized immunity and wellness, it shows that magnetic frequencies are one of the things that is stressing me. So none of us can get away from this, okay? I do green drink every day. I do all the kind of things that I'm supposed to do, but we just can't get away from it. So thankfully, these two entities are moving forward to challenge the FDA. And so I want to give you a little bit of a background for this. For more than 25 years, regulators have assumed that have assured the public that the FCC safety standards are still effective enough to meet the modern world bathed in the wireless field. They also are confident that even 5G, okay, which is another higher frequency layer of radio frequency, radiation, that is hundreds of thousands of new broadcasting cell towers installed in close proximity to where people live and work, okay? Some petitioners have attached to the case claims, okay, that normal, everyday exposure to wireless has made them sick, and they are forced to retreat from the modern world just to survive. Now, we do have patients that are like that. I remember one lady that came to see me probably about 8 years ago, and she was all broken out. She had a rash, she had ringing in her ears. She was an absolute nervous wreck, and she was absolutely just penetrated with these electromagnetic frequencies. They had Wi-Fi in their home, they had Wi-Fi in their business, and so she had all of these problems. Now, I'm in my clinic. You can see behind me, if you've been here, you're going to be sitting across the desk from me, and so this is where we are. And so if you've been here, we do have Wi-Fi in the building, but outside there's all kinds of transmitters and all kinds of things out there that make everything work. And we love that we have all this technology. But if our immune system is sensitive, then there are some things that we can do. One of the easiest things, and we used to have a company that formulated this product and they don't do it anymore, so I'm frustrated with that. But if you do equal parts of bee pollen and spirulina, it will actually cut through the electromagnetic smog and you're going to be okay. And that's exactly what we did for this lady. We gave her that product and she was able to live her life in the abundance of the radio frequencies that we have, and she was able to do it, and she was able to live her life accordingly. Now, she still unplugged her Wi-Fi at night. She still, tried not to use her device too much and not to wear her device, and all those things are right and good. We do not do that. I do not wear my cell phone. I have my cell phone away from me when I have to be on it, on the phone. I have it on speakerphone. I do texting and all that kind of stuff, but I don't wear it on my person. I do wear on my person a little black onyx diode that kind of protects me and puts up a force field for that. So there are things that we can do. So on this, these lawsuits, okay, we're going to get back to that. Kennedy, okay, says that these lawsuits, what they found, it shows a grim inventory of injuries connected to Wi-Fi, including oxidative stress, sperm and testicular damage, DNA damage, neuropsychotic damage, okay? How many of us know people that suffer with anxiety all the time, right? That is part of this damage that comes with this Wi-Fi being turned on all the time. Now, we've got videos out there, we've got podcasts out there, we've got all kinds of things out there that talk about grounding and doing things that you can do to cut through the electromagnetic smog, and you want to continue to do that because Wi-Fi is just not going away. I don't know what they're going to do if they win this lawsuit, because I do believe that we are so connected. Now, we don't have an Alexa in our home. I'm just not into that. But there are a lot of people that do. The cars are smart now. We just have a lot of electromagnetic frequencies, so we have to be careful about that. The neuropsychotic damage can be so powerful that it can be read almost immediately on EEGs in children, and those effects do not disappear after you withdraw the radiation. So this is really, really bad. Now, there's a doctor, Dr. David Carpenter, right? And he has been warning about the damage that wireless poses to the public health for several years. He is co-editor of the Bioinitiative Report. This document, compiled by 29 independent scientists, okay, experts from around the world, detailing the evidence of harm from wireless radiation. It was first published in 2012. Okay, but stronger studies have come out in the meantime, most notably a $30 million study in the U.S., okay, by the National Toxicology Program. With support from the USDA, Food and Drug Administration, the NTP study was designed to be the final word on whether or not wireless caused health problems. The study exposed rodents to a lifetime of cell phone radiation, showing that wireless exposure clearly causes cancer, okay, DNA damage, and it disrupts the endocrine system. So what is the endocrine system? Your endocrine system is all of your glands that produce hormones. So that is your thyroid, your adrenals, your pituitary, your hypothalamus, your ovaries, testicles, your pancreas. So everything that produces a hormone is your endocrine system. So this DNA damage, okay, damages your organs and it leads to cancer. So we have to be very, very careful what we do with these devices, and we have to make sure that we are as protected as we can be, okay? So The evidence from cancer or for cancer from radio frequency radiation is overwhelming and absolutely definitive, and yet it is ignored by the FCC, Dr. Carpenter said. So this is really, really important for us because we don't want to have cancer. Now, cancer for women, I think it's 1 in 3. For men, I think it's 1 in 2, right? So we need to be really, really careful that we're not putting ourselves in a situation where our DNA gets messed up and gets damaged, because that's where cancer comes from, is from messed up DNA, okay? So this study, and this is Kennedy, he said that one of the most frustrating issues to getting the public to understand the harms related to radio frequency radiation is the powerful influence of the wireless industry in silencing the story. In a world where media companies are often intimately tied to big telecom companies that have a stake in the 5G rollout, such stories are bad for business. Facebook, in particular, even admits to censoring information on 5G. Now, Facebook will tell you that if you are thinking that 5G is responsible for autoimmune issues, if you think that 5G could be responsible for the COVID issue, that you are listening to conspiracy stories, okay? Well, anytime somebody goes against the grain, they're going to be talking about conspiracy stories. We don't want to be those people. We want to look at the science, and the science is clear that the more radiation you get, the more DNA damage that you get, and we do not want that. Kennedy goes on to say their metric is not that it is a misrepresentation. Oh, I can't talk today. Their metric is not that it is a misrepresentation or that it is not true. Their metric is that it departs from the official FCC government pronouncements of 5G, and that is the ultimate insult to our democracy. Now, we know that Facebook does that. If you've ever posted anything on Facebook like I have that goes against the CDC, goes against the WHO, goes against the FCC, they're going to mark you as fact-checked and your facts are wrong. Not because your facts are wrong, but because your facts do not line up with the official voices, the FCC, the CDC, the WHO, and they all are following the money, okay? We have to understand who has power is the people that have the money. And so cash is king always, and so it is the people that lobby the most, that pay the most, that get the laws passed that affect our economy, and it affects our life, and it affects what happens to us, and so we want to follow that money. This is not conspiracy theory. This is look at what is going on. Now, there are several studies in this lawsuit, these 2 lawsuits that have come out just this past January, so we want to look at that. It says, paradoxically, now that means ironically, right? The fears, and this is talking about COVID-19 and 5G. Remember, everybody says that is a conspiracy theory. Paradoxically, such fears are likely to exacerbate suffering during the COVID-19 crisis because the dislocation caused by the coronavirus pandemic requires strong internet conductivity with the ability to facilitate working from home, telework, remote learning, as well as staying in touch with friends and family. Investment in 5G is thus central to the United States recovery, and it is important for Americans to know that wireless networks are safe, according to what the FCC says. All right, so we know if you have children, if you are working and you're using Zoom meetings, we know that 2 weeks ago, Zoom crashed. People went back to school, colleges went back to school, everybody's on their devices. I happen to do a business class every Monday morning, and we could not get together because Zoom actually crashed worldwide because we had too many people pulling from it. Now, Zoom was able to get us back up within, I don't know, in my case, I was about 20 minutes late to my meeting, because of a Zoom issue. If you were on earlier, you probably had a longer time of outage, but they updated their servers. We didn't have any trouble this week. And this is good, and I have loved being able to connect with people via Zoom because that's important. But because we are more and more and more connected this way, because we can't be connected this way, then it is causing even more stress on our immune system. And so this is what I want to talk about. 5G is an issue. Is it the cause of COVID? No, I don't think it's necessarily the cause of COVID. But does it exacerbate the situation? Yes, it does. So there's another article that I want to bring to you, and it is a new thought, okay? The new thought is to strengthen the immune system as a treatment strategy for COVID-19. So part of our treatment strategy is to turn off the Wi-Fi, wear protective gear, not wear your phone, not be on the phone all the time, and certainly with children. We do not want children to be on devices a long time at all. If you use them occasionally, like you have to go to the doctor, they have to be quiet for 20 minutes and you can get them interested in a video, that's okay. But to have a device as something that the children use day in, day out, all day long, that's not something that we recommend because children are very, very susceptible. Over here in this lawsuit, there were 2 doctors. I did not read these stories to you, but there is a doctor who said that her patient was 10 years old, okay, had been labeled autistic and was completely nonverbal, okay? The child's parents had brought him to the doctor because he had started to exhibit very aggressive behavior and they thought that he needed medication. The doctor wondered if maybe the environment was to blame. And this is a quote from the doctor: because I had reviewed the literature saying that wireless radiation can profoundly affect behavior, I suggested that they decrease his exposure and see if that was a contributing factor. I recommended they turn off the Wi-Fi router for 12 hours at night and unplug all the cordless phones and see if that would make a difference. The little boy, who had never said a word in his life, within 3 days said a full sentence and after that improved and the aggressive behavior dissipated. So this is really, really important if you are dealing with children who are developmentally challenged, who are on the spectrum. Then you need to know that the Wi-Fi is damaging them and maybe keeping them in a stuck place. There was another example, same doctor, 8-year-old boy who had a pervasive developmental disorder. She considered the symptoms, requested the parents modify their wireless radiation at home. Soon afterwards, the teachers at his school called the parents in for a meeting. They wanted to know what kind of medication their child was on because they had never seen such a dramatic improvement. All they did was cut out the wireless. So this is really, really important. We've had 2 patients today that have had developmental disorders, and guess what? Wireless could be an issue. And so we want to look at that and we want to move forward and get people out of this constant barrage of this Wi-Fi radiation. So there's a new finding here. It says that the popular theory has it that the immune system gets so revved up with the COVID-19 that it kind of crashes. You have a cytokine storm, and that's what leads to the demise of the patients. Well, these doctors are saying, let's consider a different thing. New findings from a team of researchers led by scientists at the Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis points to another theory and suggests that patients become ill because their immune systems cannot do enough to protect them from the viruses, landing them in intensive care units. They suggest that boosting immunity could be a potential treatment strategy for COVID-19. Now, I'm just going to tell you, one of my professors says we don't want to boost the immune system. We want to strengthen the immune system. So the immune system normally gets boosted when it comes in line with a pathogen, right? So we don't want to give your body pathogens. What we do want to do is give it nutrition. So we want to make lifestyle changes so that your immune system can be strengthened. So when that pathogen comes at you, your immune system says, hey, this is something that doesn't belong to me. This is something that I need to get rid of. It raises all of its immunity, so it boosts its own immunity to deal with the invader because you've already strengthened it through your lifestyle changes and through your supplementation, okay? So after gathering blood samples from 20 COVID-19 patients, the Barnes Jewish Hospital and the Missouri Baptist Medical Center in St. Louis, the researchers employed a test to measure the activity of the immune cells in the blood. They compared the blood of those that were tested to 26 hospitalized sepsis patients and 18 others who were very sick but neither had sepsis or COVID-19. Now, sepsis is a bacterial infection that has just gone crazy. It's taken over the blood, and a lot of people die from that. So these are really, really serious conditions. They found that the COVID-19 patients often had far fewer circulating immune cells than is typical. Further, the immune cells that were present did not secrete normal levels of cytokines, the molecules that many have proposed as a cause of organ damage and death in the COVID-19 patients. Instead of trying to fight the infection by further interfering with the production of cytokines, they tried a strategy that has been successful in previous studies they have conducted in sepsis patients. Hotchkiss and Remy collaborated with researchers in a small study conducted in severely ill COVID-19 patients who were hospitalized in Belgium. In that study, which was reported in the JAMA Network open paper, the COVID-19 patients were treated with a substance called interleukin-7, a cytokine that is required in the healthy development of immune cells. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is your Wi-Fi is damaging your immune system, and number two, if we increase the ability of your immune system to fight these bacteria and viruses, and you're going to be able to rise to the occasion and you're not going to get sick, okay? So that brings me back to this little report. Now, this is a 90-day optimum immune and wellness report. We do this here in the clinic, and it is great. I'm going to show you this. It's a little bit slick. It might be backwards because I know Facebook Live does crazy things, but this is your immune system values, okay? And this report will tell you what you've got going on and what to deal with it. So if you're out of vitamins or minerals or antioxidants, fatty acids, amino acids, and then the different systems in the body that are not up to par. This particular test, and this is mine, so I can show you, I do all that I can do, but still there are some challenges. But one of the good things, this is your immune support. You can see that I have very little colored things here. Very, as I know it's backwards because it's on Facebook Live. But if you come in and do this DNA test, then you're going to be able to get this report in your email, okay, and it won't be backwards for you. But notice all of my blocks are almost clear. That's awesome. That is good for an immune system, okay? That means my immune system is working the way it needs to. The very few things that are highlighted here is that I'm low on my vitamin B6, which is for my adrenals. Surprise, surprise on that. And then the other thing is electromagnetic frequencies. I live surrounded by generators and different things. And so that is, just crazy. And so that is a good thing. And then there's another one that is gut support. Now, you can see I don't have any colors on that. So my gut is really good. Your immune system is in your gut. But this report tells you all kinds of things that you need to know in order to get your gut right and to get your immune system where it needs to be. Now, the beauty of this is you don't need meat. It gives you a 38-page report where you're looking at diet, you're looking at food, you're looking at different nutritional supplements that will actually benefit you and cause your gut to heal and cause your immune system to be strengthened. So as we go into the fall and winter, as we go into the cold and flu season, there's really not a season, right? But they say it is. As you go into what possibly might be round 2 of COVID-19, all right, there is such a virus. There is. But is it as deadly as they say? Not if you are healthy. It is deadly if you have those comorbidities. What are those comorbidities? You're overweight, okay? If you are overweight, your immune system is suppressed. Why? Because overweight is an accumulation of environmental and food toxicities that your body can't deal with, it can't process through the natural ebb and flow of the body, and so it shunts those chemicals and those toxicities into your adipose fat tissue. So when we look at people that are obese, we know that they've got metabolic waste problems. And if we deal with that metabolic waste problem by getting the gut well, getting the immune system working the way the immune system needs to, then they're going to be altogether better. Now, this report, as I say, this comes straight to you. You don't need me. I'm here for you, but this is something that you can do, and you can strengthen your own immune system. You can strengthen your gut all by yourself by eating the foods they want you to eat and not eating the foods they don't want you to eat. So this is really, really helpful. It's a great value. You don't have to pay me to come see me. You've got we take 4 little hairs out of the back of your neck, top of your head. If you don't have hair, we'll pull it from your beard, okay? So we'll get that hair. We have to have the follicle. We have to send the follicle within 4 hours to the lab. So if you're not local, then we've got an issue there, but I may be able to refer you to someone who has this technology in your area. So reach out if you want to do this and you're not local. We can maybe help you with this. But I really, really want you guys to pay attention. This is the beginning of September. We are going into the winter, and depending on where you live, we're more susceptible to colds and flus and viruses in the winter because it's damp and cold and all that kind of stuff. I have not had any kind of respiratory illness, I cannot tell you when, 40 years, maybe 50 years. It's been a long, long time, okay? And so I am not worried about back to school or back to work or getting out and mingling with people. I'm not worried about that. Why? Because I eat well 80% of the time. I cheat a little bit here and there. I'm honest. I follow the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time I eat well. 20% of the time I may fudge a little bit, okay? What that looks like on the weekday is I cook all during the week, and then on the weekends I kind of take it easy. But I make sure that my blood work is good. I make sure that my supplementation is good. I make sure that my immune system does what it needs to do, because that is the only thing that's going to keep me well is my own immune system, okay? Medicine's not going to heal me. Herbs and supplements are not going to heal me. What they're going to do is they're going to get my body in line. My body's going to be balanced. My body's going to work the way God intended it to work, and I'm going to stay healthy. And this is what I want for you. So be careful with the Wi-Fi. Strengthen your immune system with good food, good supplementation. Unplug your devices. Wear something protective when you're on your devices. Make sure that your children are not plugged into their devices, because it's very, very detrimental to their brain development, okay? So it is Labor Day weekend. I want you guys to be good to yourself, do self-care, get away, unplug, enjoy your weekend. Love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me.